All right, folks, I want to bring in our stock market mentor, founder and CEO, Dan Fitzpatrick. And, Dan, I want to start with an article I saw yesterday in Bloomberg. And it kind of, here's the thing. I'm really, I've been doing this for a long time. You have too. And when I see them plant seeds for things, my radar goes off. And it gets frustrating because no one else's radar goes off. So there's an article about hedge funds. And toward the end of the article, they talk about how these hedge funds, that they could be in a lot of trouble, and it won't just be them, it would be society, and then there would be a lot of lost jobs. They laid on thick enough that I know the next thing coming is that we'd have to bail out hedge funds. I mean, do you kind of see, because of the hedge funds not being appropriately hedged, ironically, that they've created some sort of mess potentially for all of us?
Yeah, when I started back in the mid-'90s, I thought hedge funds were just that, hedge funds. They seemed just the best thing in the world. They're basically gamblers, and they're gamblers with other people's money with a backstop from somebody. They're well connected, and I'd like to say that this is really going to, if they do bail these guys out, and they will, it's only a question of when, I'd like to say that it would make people really pissed off and there'd be a big, a big to-do about it. But I think we're all so conditioned to that type thing that we just look past it. And I look at what's happening today as there's a real democratization among the investing public where we kind of have the same tools as these sophisticated hedge funds do, only probably a little more common sense because the egos aren't quite so so big. So, at least that's the way I see it. I'm very, very cynical, but it's well deserved.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000%. I think backstop is the most important thing. When you can't really lose, when you cannot lose, like when you make huge mistakes and then the government bails you out and then you don't have to pay taxes on top of it, you will get a warped sense of reality. I mean, who wouldn't be a little nuts there and a little bit cocky? Let's talk about these markets for a moment, because I started the show talking about the potential for a massive short squeeze, $1 trillion short this market right now. You've got a name that you like as a big short squeeze right now.
Yeah, I like MicroStrategy actually as a short squeeze. They've got a real lever to Bitcoin. They own, I think, 140,000 Bitcoin. That's an investment that's about $4.2 billion. They certainly, that's not what they do is Bitcoin mining, but they have a big big interest in that. And with Bitcoin starting to move now, finally, we're going to see, I think, a big rise in MicroStrategies. It's already moved up quite a bit, but their float is just a little over 10 million shares. And of that, 2.8 million short. So that's a really, really high short interest. And when you look, just forgetting about the enterprise software part of it, if you're just looking at the Bitcoin aspect, you can see what's happening lately. BlackRock, WisdomTree, they applied for Bitcoin trusts this week, and what's going to happen after that. They're going to go for ETFs. We're seeing all kinds of bids in Bitcoin now. And so I think this is going to be a really huge short squeeze. And it's not really on the fundamentals of the company. It's what's going on in the crypto mining business, basically.
Well, I got to tell you, I've had Michael Saylor on the show a lot. And to be quite frank with you, I'm rooting for him. And it's a very smart, brilliant guy. And I like this pick a lot. Dan, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Charles.
All right, folks. Coming up, America's Achilles heel.